Sports Junkies here at RacineSportsZone.com. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show weekday afternoons from 2 to 6. Also can catch me after each and every Bucks basketball game as we do a Pick and Save basketball post-game show on AM 1250 and 105.7 FM The Fan. You can also check us out and listen on the app. If you can't get us in all that great at 105.7 FMTheFan.com. You can stream us there too. Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. Catch him on each and every post-game show as well throughout the year after Bucks basketball games. Gery, let's start off first by talking about this team. The first preseason game is in the books. The Bulls game, now they have their McFun game.
And everybody should be happy about that.
Well, yeah.
Especially you. You were upset about one preseason game.
I'm just happy the Brewers season is over, and now we can talk about the Bucks. But let's talk a little bit about exhibition play, because this is what I've taken away from it.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd ran his guys out there for the first half. Mm-hmm. They come out at halftime, and he's like, well, they're done. Right. I'm just playing my bench guys now the rest of the game.
Sure.
Hoiberg, for the Bulls, he sends his whole starting unit back out there again and plays them a good, 10, 12 more minutes than Kidd played his starters.
Right.
When you watch NFL games, it's, the first preseason game, you get a series of the offensive starters.
Right.
The second game, you get a quarter. The third game is the big game. You get a half and maybe a series into the third quarter. And then the fourth game, maybe a series where they don't play at all. Baseball, the starters maybe play a couple innings in the first game and it gradually builds.
Sure.
In basketball, it seems like starters play longer in exhibition games, especially early on and throughout, than they do in other sports.
Yeah, with Hoiberg, I'm sure that was predetermined because he's bringing in an entirely new offense, an entirely new defense, and they're going to push the ball much more than they did in the past, which I think is great for the Bulls. The Bulls are my sleeper pick to win it all this coming season. I think they're loaded across the board.
To win what?
The NBA title. Yep. It all hinges on Derrick Rose. If Derrick Rose shows up.
Well, that's the end of it, and then it's over.
Yeah, but if I believe that he can play at a high level.
I believe you play the lottery enough, you might win a couple bucks.
No.
I mean, he can't stay healthy.
Well, that's in recent years that's true. But again, I mean, you look at their front line, like a guy like Bobby Portis. He came in the other night and got 14 rebounds, and they already had arguably.
A lot of that was against second and third.
It doesn't matter. And you know what? He's not going to play a lot of minutes for Chicago. But what it does, it illustrates their front court depth. I mean, they might have the best.
That's the replacement for Gasol. When Gasol's done, Bobby Portis will be the four.
Well, Mirotic probably will be, I would think, at some point.
Gasol?
Well, I mean, but my point is Mirotic and Porter coming off the bench. I don't know if there's a team in the NBA that has better backups in the front court than the Bulls.
I like Mirotic. He's a nice shooter.
And we forgot about Taj Gibson, So they got legitimate 5-6 big guys that are pretty good players.
One thing about Mirotic, I don't think he's much of a defender, to be honest with you.
I think he's a pretty darn good player.
He can score the basketball, he can shoot his jumpers and do that and stretch the floor for you. I just don't know defensively when Gasol leaves. Can you turn to Mirotic and go, okay, go get me 12 rebounds a night?
But those guys aren't going to be 30-plus minute players. They're going to probably
when Gasol leaves, somebody's got to start.
Sure, exactly. And I think by that point, Mirotic is pretty good. Or they'll go out in free agency because they got big bucks.
I don't know.
But my point is, going back to Hoiberg, he's got a new system, and that's why I think he went with his veterans. Whereas Kidd, everybody knows the system now. I mean, it's down pat. So.
Sure. How much stock do you put into how well certain guys play in the preseason? Because you got a new guy in Monroe who is learning the offense, who is learning the rotations, but still gets yanked out like Middleton does, who already knows everything.
I put zero interest. I mean, I refuse unless I'm forced to watch those games. Not to watch because, like you said, the Bucks played all their backups in the second half. What was interesting, they played down Chicago. Did you see the crowd attendance?
Yeah.
They sold it out.
Yeah.
They sold out a meaningless preseason game, and that's pretty impressive.
See, I love watching it. I was able to watch that game. It was on Comcast Sports Chicago, and I got DirecTV. I got the NBA ticket and all our league pass or whatever. So I was able to watch it, and I'm just saying, outside looking in, I mean, certain guys on that Bucks team kind of look lackadaisical. Or they were just trying to find themselves a little bit playing together. And this is the first time they've played against another team outside of just practicing against each other. So I think maybe there's something to say about that.
Well,
I did notice this. When that game started, they made every effort to get Greg Monroe as many touches as possible in the first 4 or 5 possessions to get him going.
Well, a lot of teams that have big men do that. I mean, when the Bucks had Bogut, do you remember the first play was automatic? The ball would go down in the post. Yep. So that's kind of the modus operandi for NBA teams. What I'm kind of curious to see is if Jabari Parker plays any preseason games.
Well, now the one thing that
that to me is very, very important.
The one thing that he did end of last week, early this week, was say, I'm not playing in Chicago. When I play, that's going to be Milwaukee in front of our home crowd. I'm a Wisconsin guy now. And I'm sure that riled up some Chicago people, but that was cool. As a Bucks fan, you're like, all right, cool, because he could have played in Chicago in front of his family and his friends.
Absolutely.
And then came back and rested him.
I'm really curious, though, to see if they do play him in their preseason game in Milwaukee.
Well, I don't know. He's got to play at some point. I mean, I'm not letting him out there.
And I totally agree with it. And the word I heard the other day was that they might withhold him from the regular season opener, which
You're at home? No.
I don't know, but one person swears that's going to be the case, so we'll see. Based on what I saw in practice, he looks great.
Well, if he doesn't play the home opener, then he better not play the first week or two, because he better not miss the home opener and then play the first game on the road. Right, because then Bucks fans are going to be lit.
Absolutely, because Giannis is already out for the first game.
Right.
So
because of the suspension from Dunleavy last year, people forget about that. He is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer, talking Bucks basketball for the next 6 months. Oh man, I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited.
Settle down.
Oh, I'm so excited. We'll talk to you next time here at RacineSportsZone.com. Ta-ta.